Welcome.
Mr. Jonathan Moore.
Mr. Jonathan Moore.
And Dr.
Addressed all of us here. There is no question that the United States, which hosted 65 years ago the Washington Treaty, which created the alliance, is one of the most committed members, as are all the members of NATO, to the
country to NATO, has contributed to the expansion of the zone of peace and stability and security. That's proven, that's clear. So it has not threatened anyone, but has brought stability. And this is how we should see this process. We should
European concern where they immediately requested NATO assistance and reassurance through I don't know.
What I've seen in the past years, yes, we did disagree on several issues, but there was always a lot of positive cooperation in counterterrorism, counter-narcotics, counter-piracy, and many other projects. And this is what NATO would like to continue to do. We would want to continue to engage Russia. But the fact of the matter is that Russia has broken a number of fundamental principles of international law, beginning with state respect for terrorism, counter-narcotics, counter-piracy, and many other projects. And this is what NATO would like to continue to do. We would want to continue to engage Russia. But the fact of the matter is that Russia has broken a number of fundamental principles of international law, beginning with state respect.
no longer sustainable to rely almost exclusively on the United States when it comes to the budgeting of NATO, and also the fact that out of all the European allies, it's only 3 who provide basically 60% of the European contribution to the budget. We know that, and we are going to do something about it. We have to be realistic. Most of us are members of the European Union as well, and as you mentioned, we are members of Eurozone, and we have very strict Maastricht criteria demanding that we reach a balanced budget in 3 years from now. We were at minus 4.5 2 years ago. We were below 3% last year. So that means there is this pressure to reduce the expenditures and to get to the balance. At the same time, we speak about possibility of economic sanctions against Russia, which would also have negative impact on our budgets, our GDPs. But we are ready to do so if the situation so requires. So let's be realistic, speaking about NATO. It's still the same. It's still the one budget, no matter how many organizations you belong to. It's rather to be modest in our commitments, but to deliver on them, like the 2%.
Threat coming so close to the borders of NATO, to the eastern borders. So what we wanted to provide, and what we're providing, is first and foremost visible reassurance, particularly to the countries who are bordering or are in the neighborhood of Ukraine. And secondly, that credible deterrence, which is absolutely necessary and that goes in line with the political conversation, with the political dialogue with Russia, which obviously needs to be a political solution. But we also have to send a message that we stand ready and that we will defend any of our members who may come under attack.
If I may, I would insist on the fact, but a speech of the president is one thing, and the change of borders of other country in a clear violation of international law and that country constitution is a different thing. So we did find ourselves in a new situation, and some red lines which were invisible, but we were sure they were there, were clearly crossed. So this is a new situation to which we have to react, and I would only compliment what Ambassador Grabar-Kitarović said. We need to redefine our relationship with Russia, because obviously NATO-Russia Council, as it was projected, does not represent the state about third countries, about common threats. We need to address the fact that we found ourselves in a different game, and while saying this, I'm not trying to be anti-Russian. I'm trying to be open, and I'm trying to say this is the new situation. And second, we need to be clear, transparent, predictable with our own NATO policies, including open door policy, including enlargement. It would be a big mistake if enlargement is seen as a part of the, either pleasing Russia or confronting Russia. It has nothing to do with Russia or with any other country. It's about us, it's about NATO, it's about the countries who want to join NATO. And we must avoid any temptation of putting the and open door policy into the context of NATO-Russia current difficult relationship.
Thank you very much. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much.
9 days, and that has violated the very memorandum that they signed back in 1994 in Budapest, whereby they committed to protect the territorial integrity of Ukraine and its internationally recognized borders, its political independence, and its sovereignty. So what's here at stake is not just a regional crisis, it's not just a military security crisis. This is also setting very dangerous precedents and undermining the whole rule book of the international law in all of the aspects that I have mentioned already, and I'm not going to go into the details again to bore you. Do we need a new security system? Well, we've got the Council of Europe, we've got the Organization for Security and Stability in Europe as well, the OSCE. In my mind, that would be the organization who should be involved in this political dialogue and resolving this crisis. We've got the UN and of course NATO, which is not the first responder, but certainly is concerned with upholding the rules of international law and working with the international community to resolve this crisis and again to bring about order in Europe. But yes, this is very dangerous and it can be reflected not just in parts such as Transnistria or Moldova, South Ossetia, Abkhazia. We can go even further around this globe where these dangerous precedents could be taken as an example. If we're not firm in standing for the principles of international law, they can be taken as an example to break the rule book of international law again.
Well, thank you for that intervention. Minister Buss.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really feel, and in Croatia there is really a strong sense of somehow sympathy and solidarity with Ukraine and what's happening there. And I think you know that. And there is certainly the element of annexing Crimea, of stirring up unrest in the eastern Ukraine and Donbass.
Clearly, with the progress made towards the European Union, the door is open there as well. And I apologize to the moderator. I had no intention to turn this into a debate on NATO defense budgets. I'm glad that we've had the discussion about that. I hope it is clear that is not a new criterion that was imposed today on Montenegro, a country that has shown such tremendous progress and again is the most compelling candidate for NATO membership. With a question from Lithuanian, a brief anecdote. Having served in our embassy in Lithuania around the same time Stefan Füle was the ambassador of the Czech Republic in the 1990s, I remember very well in Washington and in other NATO capitals in 1995 and 1996. The idea that Lithuania or any of the Baltic states could ever join the alliance was completely outside, the local expression would be van pamet, would completely outside any possibility that such a thing would ever happen. NATO and enlargement and the open door is all part of a continuum. Getting through that door does not mean your work is done, you don't have to spend any money on defense, you will be protected, you're under the umbrella. And by the way, all of the ministers who are here, Minister Kodeli from Albania, as well as the ministers here on the panel, will tell you, if you ask them, did your country get into NATO soon enough? None of them, I suspect, would say, oh yes, absolutely, we got in too early. Everyone had to do the work to get into the alliance, and they have to continue to do the work inside the alliance, as we are committed to doing in the United States. It is an ongoing process. It's not about 2009 or 2014 or whenever a next summit would be. It's about ongoing investment and commitment to the alliance. We are confident that Montenegro is playing that role and will continue to do that, whether it gets in tomorrow or the next day or at whatever point in the future. It is an ongoing responsibility. We fully support that, and we are confident that those doors will stay open for other countries as well. I do not want to predict the future. I believe we're under Chatham House rules, but there are a few too many cameras, notebooks, and microphones for that. In any case, the day when Serbia applies for NATO, which is a day we hope to see in the future, and when other countries in the region move through that door, is what we want. The Europe whole, free, and at peace. The Republican and Democratic administrations, Secretary Kerry, Secretary Clinton, and their predecessors have been talking about for decades now. So thank you again for the opportunity to expound a little bit on the issues on the